the definition of live birth and following by the science. The definition, as per the explanation provided in Indian criminal law, the explanation of 3 of 299 IPC, where it defines a live born if any part of a child has been brought forth, and even though the child may not have breathed or been completely born. And context towards Indian civil law, and the explanation from section 2D of Registration of Birth and Death Act of 1969, it states that live birth means a complete expulsion of a fetus from its mother, irrespective of the duration of pregnancy, and who after such expulsion the breathes or shows any evidence of life. In legal aspects towards civil cases, where proofs of live birth are any signs of life after a complete birth of a child is accepted as proof of live birth. And here in case, first and foremost, the cry of a baby. Second, the muscle twitching or the movement of the limb, sneezing and yawning. And towards baby cry, where it is perceived to be a strongest evidence in favor of live birth, and it suggests the respiration has taken place. Once the membranes have been ruptured and there been an entry of air, and a fetus may inhale and started crying, and even this process can occur when the head of the fetus is within vagina or even inside the uterus, and where the bystanders or the relatives may hear, and they perceive that a live birth has occurred. And in spite, right, and if there been any other unforeseen incident wherein after which there been a death of a fetus, there have been allegations on the treating physician. And point number 2, muscle twitching or otherwise movements of limb, wherein the muscle twitching can even occur even after death, and therefore it is not safe to assume that twitching of the muscles as a proof of life. Sneezing, yawning, and contractions of muscles are other signs of live birth. Signs of live birth, and here whatever the previous the signs of crying, yawning, sneezing, and muscular movements are towards civil cases, and in case of criminal cases disputes wherein signs of live birth need to be demonstrated during postmortem examination, and wherein the internal examination may provide a strong proof, and where most of the sciences where maybe purely towards academical, wherein some test and some signs where are considered to be the surest signs of live birth, and we will discuss each of the signs in upcoming section of the video. Shape of the chest. Before respiration, the chest appears flat and the circumference of it is between 1 to 2 cm lesser than the abdomen at the level of umbilicus. Once after respiration, the shape of the chest expands and it appears or it becomes arched or otherwise drum-like in shape. Second, towards opening regarding the position of diaphragm, and as a precautionary measure, first and foremost, presence of putrefaction gases may alter the position of diaphragm. And how to look for putrefaction of gases, and only by external examination. If there have been presence of any signs of decomposition on the external surface of the fetus, then this step has no value at all. And there are second, a precautionary measure wherein the abdomen cavity need to be opened first, following other cavities, And here the reason being, if thorax cavity is been opened before to abdomen cavity, wherein the air that enter the thorax may push the diaphragm below, and the position of diaphragm is being altered, and it has been pushed to lower level, and almost giving a false indication of live birth. And same such doesn't happen when abdomen is being opened, where the entry of air will not push the diaphragm, because there being presence of lung which prevents the push. And we need to locate the highest point of diaphragm, and if there been no respiration has occurred, then the position of diaphragm will be at fourth or fifth rib, and once the respiration has occurred, the position of diaphragm will be at sixth or seventh rib. First is to rule out the decomposition. Second, the abdomen cavity is to be opened. Then the other measures by which the highest point of diaphragm is being noted. Coming to lungs, and breathing causes significant and permanent changes in lungs, and their extent depends upon the period and the strength of respiration. And by this tabular column we simplify, and first and foremost triad that we take is the volumes of lung, and the column second before respiration, third column is after respiration, and volume based on the volume, normal or small, and after respiration it is larger and covers the heart. Regarding the consistency, the lung appears dense, firm, non-crepitant like liver, and after respiration it appears soft, spongy, elastic, and crepitant, and the margins are sharp, and here in case it is been rounded, and a color uniformly reddish brownish or bluish red in color, and after respiration has occurred it appears to be malted or marbled like appearance. And air vesicles non-inflated, and here in case it has been inflated. The lowest margin of diaphragm is at the level of 4th to 5th rib, and after respiration it is on 6th to 7th rib, and blood within lungs is lesser, and it is in this case it is more. Lung, and here in case it is 35 grams, and after respiration it increases to 70 grams, and the reason being, if a respiration has occurred due to presence of air followed by both lungs, before respiration it is around 35 grams, and after respiration it is of 70 grams. Weight of both lungs in relation to body weight, 1 by 70th of body weight, and after respiration it is 1 by 35th of body weight, and specific gravity it is of 1.04 and to 1.05 and heavier than water, and after respiration it is around 0.94 of specific gravity, and it is lighter than water. And regarding the flotation or otherwise hydrostatic test, where a whole or parts of shrink in water, and if there been a respiration has occurred, the expanded areas of the whole may float in water. And towards thoracic cavity, and here in case it is not fully occupied by lungs, and here in case after respiration it is almost occupied the entire thoracic cavity, and pleura loose and wrinkled, and in after respiration pleura appears stout and stretched. On cut section, oozing of blood will be less or little phlothyrous blood exudes on pressure, and in case of after respiration there be an abundant frothy blood exudates on cut section. Bronchioles and bronchi where it been empty, and in this case it contains a blood stain frothy. Alveoli are not inflated, and here in case it has been inflated. And microscopic sections wherein alveolar sacs are closed, aligned with cuboidal and columnar cells, and after respiration, the sac appears dilated, lined with fat squamous cells with prominent vascularity. And regarding medical importance, before respiration, it indicates either stillborn or deadborn, and after respiration, it indicates a live-born child. Based on weight of lungs, there are two tests. First and foremost is Fordyce test, or otherwise synonymous static test. And here in case where lungs have been ligated across their hilum and has been separated, followed by it has been weighed. And before respiration, where weight of both lungs is of 30 to 40 grams, and after respiration it increased to 60 to 70 grams. And the reason that have been advocated is due to increase in blood flow. And again, it is not that a reliable sign of live birth. And here the blood flow in the lung beds is being increased after breathing, and weight of the combined weight of both lungs is been compared to on a ratio to on a body weight, and before respiration it is 1/70th of the body weight, and after respiration it is 1/35th of the body weight after respiration. And the increase in weight is not constant, and again it is not a reliable indication of breathing. And the other test relating to lungs is hydrostatic test, and the synonyms to hydrostatic test are Ragas test, flotation test. And the basic principle behind hydrostatic test is upon breathing, both the weight as well as the volume of lung is being increased. And here, behind weight, it is due to the increase in blood flow, and the increase in volume is due to inflow of air. And the specificity of lungs before respiration is 1040 to 1050, and the specific gravity of lung after respiration is about 940 to 950. And so it means that a respiratory lung will float on water when it is being suspended on a water body. The hydrostatic test is performed in 4 stages, and first stage is of where the whole thoracic plug consisting of both lungs and heart are placed in a bucket of water. And in this stage, where a piece of liver is taken as a control sample, normally in normal condition where a liver sinks usually, but if a liver floats, it indicates there has been a presence of putrefaction where the test doesn't have any validity. And the whole thoracic plug consisting of both lungs and heart have been placed in water, and if it floats, it indicates there is a presence of an air and a child has been alive. And if in case the entire plug doesn't floats, instead it sinks, it indicates we need to proceed to a stage 2 of hydrostatic test. And in stage 2, where each bronchus is being tied and a lung being served above the ligature, and each lung is being placed in water separately. And if it floats, again it indicates a respiration has taken place and the child was being alive. If in case the either of the lung sinks or sinks into the water, it indicates we need to move to stage 3. Stage 3, wherein the lung has been made into cut into 12 to 20 pieces, and after cutting each pieces, a piece has been taken and it been rolled gently between fingers and thumb and near a ear to hear a crackling, crepited noise, and dip each piece under water and squeeze them between the thumb and finger. And if there been a presence of air, and you can able to notice bubbles that have been escaping under the water, and allow it to float. If they float independently, then it indicates there been a presence of there been uh, a respiration process has taken place. If it sinks, then proceed to next stage of hydrostatic test. And in stage 4, where each piece now taken out of the water, wrapped in the cloth and squeezed by putting a weight. And again, in this stage 4, the important step here being we are about by keeping a weight and by squeezing them with a piece of in a piece of cloth or wrap them in a piece of cloth. We are about to remove the expiratory reserve volume and the tidal air. And even though after these measures, where even the residual air still remains within the alveoli, which can't be taken out by any means of any of the maneuvers that has been carried out in stage 4. And the mechanism or the principle of stage 4 is being the residual air which is being within the alveoli will keep the lungs floating, and if there been a respiration has occurred or there been a born of an alive infant. And if lungs were floating in early stages, it may even occur due to any artifacts in form of any artificial respiratory measures that has been taken during the resuscitative process. And even after these measures, if a piece of lung floats in water, it indicates the fetus has taken a respiration and it has born alive. Reasons for false positive conditions, and here the child does not respire after birth even though lungs float on hydrostatic test. In other ways, wherein these are artifacts. First and foremost artifact is artificial inflation. Second is decomposition. And in case of artificial inflation, either by any of the resuscitative measures that has been carried out on saving the life of an infant, where a supportive oxygen either supplied to by a tube, catheter, cannula that has been passed into trachea, or by mouth to mouth respiration. And the second artifact that can occur wherein fetal lungs they float even though there is no respiration has taken place. Where in decomposition, wherein the external features again will be highly indicative, even though where in lungs the features like the external appearance greenish in color, soft in consistency, can able to see appearance of bubbles in larger quantity on the surfaces of the lung, and they are unequal in size. They project considerably from the surfaces, and gas within them can be pushed readily from place to place, and they collapse on pricking. And these are two artifact conditions wherein child did not respire after respiration after being born, and yet the lungs remains floating on hydrostatic tests. These are false negative conditions wherein child has respired after birth, yet the lung sinks on hydrostatic test. First and foremost is atelectasis, wherein non-expansion of lung and the sequence of events in form of a feeble respiration has occurred in air did not enter the lungs properly, or otherwise air remains up to the level of trachea, or the bronchial level, and it doesn't reach the alveoli, and the lungs remain unexpanded, and even though child was alive. Second, obstruction due to presence of alveolar duct membrane, and it causes an obstruction to the entry of air to the alveoli, and disease conditions in form of acute edema, congenital syphilis, pneumonia, or the other reasons, wherein we can able to see false negative reactions, wherein actually child has respired after birth, but lung shrinks during hydrostatic test. And these are conditions wherein hydrostatic test is not at all necessary. First and foremost condition where fetus appears like in a monster. Second, fetus is mummified or been macerated or showing features of decomposition. Then hydrostatic test is not being necessary. The fetus is not viable if it is less than 180 days of intrauterine life. Fourth, wherein stomach contains presence of milk, it suggests there been a breastfeeding has occurred in, and performing hydrostatic tests again in this condition it is not necessary. Fifth, if there been umbilical cord has separated and there is a formation of scar, then again hydrostatic test is not necessary. Yes, that have been noted in middle ear, and before birth, middle ear contains gelatinous embryonic connective tissue, and there is no presence of air. And with our respiration, wherein sphincters of pharyngeal end of the eustachian tube relaxes and air being replaced, and it replaces the gelatinous substances in few hours to 5 weeks, and middle ear must be opened underwater to remove the technum tympani, and wherein air bubbles comes out if a test be positive. And in a simpler way, wherein a simpler method wherein to detect Warden's test is wherein you dip the ears in water, and you can even puncture the tympanic membrane, and you can able to notice the presence of air bubbles, and it's highly suggestive of there being a live birth has occurred. And again, the reliability of this test measure is of very low, and again not routinely done to detect a sign of live birth. And these are the changes in a child that have been noted after birth, and a really extensive list we will cut short. And foremost is the blood, wherein nucleated red cells disappears from the circulation within 24 hours, and fetal hemoglobin is being synthesized in mainly from a liver, and before birth it is around 80 to 90%. By the third month it is 7 to 8%, and after 6 months it completely disappears from the circulation. And regarding the meconium is a green viscid substance consisting of thickened bile and mucus. Meconium is being completely excreted or completely expelled from the large intestine for within 24 to 48 hours after a normal birth. And there are some conditions wherein meconium may be excreted completely before birth in case of breech presentation and in case of severe anoxia. The other changes in stomach and intestine, the synonym to these tests are stomach bowel test and or otherwise Bristol's second life test, wherein stomach intestine have been removed after tying in a double ligature at the each end, and they have been placed in water. And if they float, it suggests respiration has taken place, or otherwise if they sink, it signifies the respiration has not occurred. And there are drawbacks to these tests wherein high false positivity can occur, and if there been presence of any resistation atoms or there been formation of gas, bacterial gas formation in form of putrefaction, then this test has no credibility, and even the survival period can also be estimated. And here, if it been immediately after birth, then there will be presence of gas within the stomach, and by 1 to 2 hours, the gas reaches up to small intestine. 5 to 6 hours, it reaches the colon. By the 12th hour, it reaches the rectum. And wherein to differentiate the features of caput succedaneum versus Kefil hematoma, and regarding the causes, there have been an edematous swelling between skin and gala due to pressure on the presenting part, and as a result of impaired venous return. And in case of Kefil hematoma, there have been a localized collection of blood between periosteum and skull due to rupture of periosteal capillaries. And regarding the content, it contains blood in case of Kefil hematoma, and in case of caput succedaneum, it contains serous fluid. And the occurrence more common, and here it is of rare, and it causes suture lines. It extends across the suture line in case of caput succedaneum, and in case of Kefil hematoma, it never extends. It remains within the border or within the suture lines. And size, it is relatively large, and Kefil hematoma, it is relatively smaller, and the situation bilateral, and in case of Kefil hematoma, it is of unilateral, and it is present over parietal bone, most commonly present over parietal bone. And regarding the color, there is no any discoloration, but in Kefil hematoma, due to presence of a blood within, as the time period increases, there have been changes of discoloration of color occurs in over the swollen site, and it looks like bruises, obviously. And other features in case of caput succedaneum, where there is no impulse on crying, and in Kefil hematoma, same such. And in case of development, it immediately after birth, and is not present at birth, develops after 24 to 48 hours. And regarding the disappearance, decreases in size from birth and completely disappears by the first week. And in case of Kefil hematoma, it decreases in first 2 days, then it starts increasing in size and completely disappears by 6 to 8 weeks. In the complications, wherein none relating to caput succedaneum, and in case of Kefil hematoma, there may be presence of jaundice due to presence of extra load of blood pigment. Calcification, ossification may occur, and with a subsequent bony swelling when there been persistence for months, and even it can result in significant deformities of skull. And if there have been significant deformities occurring in where surgical excision is maybe necessary. And regarding medical legal importance, caput succedaneum can be taken as a sign of live birth, and Kefil hematoma regression helps in timing the survival period of the newborn. Regarding the umbilical cord changes, by the second hour after birth, where there have been presence of blood clots on the curtains, 12 to 24 hours, cord attached to the child shrinks and dries up. Greater than 36 hours, an inflammatory ring formation occurs at the base of the stump. 2 to 3 days, cord mummifies. 5 to 6 days, cord falls off and leaving out a ulcer. By 10 to 12 days, ulcer heals and it leaves a scar. These are the changes being noted on the point A, figure A, wherein an umbilical cord is being attached to the newborn, and point B, wherein can able to see an umbilical cord clamp And point number C, where umbilical cord stump shows signs of healing. Point D, almost a 7-day-old baby with an umbilical cord stump, and umbilical cord stump shows pictures of mummification, almost about to fall. And for figure F, where umbilical stump is completely healed and detached from umbilicus. Cardiovascular changes, and here there have been a closure of ductus arteriosus by 4th day after birth. Foramen ovale closes by 2nd month after birth. And again, other vascular structures like ductus venous close by 3 to 5 days, and the left umbilical vein obliteration and the closure period is 3 to 5 days. Thank you so much for your patient listening. If there have been any doubts, queries relating to the content of the video, kindly address those issues in comment section below, or otherwise address those issues through any of the social media links provided in description section. Thank you.